Hey guys, so my stream got stuck for some reason, and I wasn't able to cover most of the things, but I'll just give you a quick recap of what I studied. So we saw that in the uh, in the Sablier lockup dynamic there was a create early, and this is like early stands for lockup dynamic, right? So let's durations early. So there are two types of dynamic lockups that we can create. First is during like for the duration, like for n number of time, and second type is that we can use is create with timestamp, like how much duration it should be, right? So the major difference between the two is like in dynamics we can create segments, like in the duration LD, right? We are able to create segments, and where in each segment the amount of tokens can be different, and we can like adjust it accordingly. So how does it work? So basically we take creation duration create with durations struct, which has sender, recipient, and other information about the general structure of um, the segment, and about the params, and then we have a segment with duration. So create with duration is basically a struct which uh, represent the general structure of how, where, and the how, like the properties of the stream. And the segment with duration is a array which consists of segments and their duration and the amount, right? So how does it work is that we calculate segment timestamp. So like for example, if we are supposed to give certain amount of segments, like let's say understand. So there are three properties. First is amount for that segment, exponent for that segment, and duration, like what is the time between the last and this segment, right? So how long does this segment needs to last, right? And and then we create segments by like calling the helper function calculate segment timestamps. And let me just show you how does it work. So first of all, it runs through. So first of all, the major difference is it for first array, which is the starting, um, of the segments, right? They are creating the segment by their own. And the major difference between the other and this one is the timestamp is calculated by start time, and with the segment duration, which is from 0 to how long this needs to be passed, which is passed in the as an argument. And for the n plus 1 elements, right? So the calculation is done by segment with timestamp. So let's suppose if the timestamp is 50 for the first one, and yeah. So then the segment will be n minus 1, which is, let's say, for the first element, not the 0th, but the first will be the 0th element plus the duration segment, the duration of this one, right? So let's suppose if the first is 50, then the next one is supposed to be 80, and so on and so forth, right? So but I'm like I don't know how it's going to work, because let's say like the array will look something like this. Just give me a second. 50, 80, 70, 100, right? The array will look like this. So and the timestamp for the first segment will be 50, then 70, and then 80, right? And this is like additional to like 50. It's not 50 seconds or like 50 minutes or 50 days or whatsoever, but it is 50 till 70, and 70 to 80, this is how segments should look like. um, yeah, yes, this is, I think this is how the segment will look like. So timestamp 1, let's suppose, which is 50, then we are adding the duration of this, which is so we are basically creating a line of time and creating text on the line itself, right? So this is how it is done. And then once where was it? Yeah, yeah. So once we like create an array of segments, then we create a timestamp array which consists of start and end timestamp. For start, we are just using the start like the current uh, like block timing, and for the end it should be under the no, params, right? No, not the params, but where is it? Length minus 1 times. Oh, okay, so it is under the segments. um, so once the segment is there, right, um, like it is taking the end time from the segment's last element. Let me just 1 second. Why, like, uh, create with duration and then we okay. So it expects that the user passes like a segment, and then we create it accordingly, like in the format that they expect, um, by using calculate segment timestamps, which is again, let me just create it here. uh, the format will be like 50 to 90 to 100 and 200, right? This would be, this is they did. Yeah. So, and apart from that, what does it return? Is it returns segment, which is count amount. Oh yes, so they are also amount and exponent. Okay, gotcha. And then what it does, it creates a timestamp struct, then calls the create LD here, and it and then we call create LD function, which just has all the details about the cancelable property, deposit amount, recipient, segments that we created. Oh, sorry, segments that we created, sender, shape, which will be the shape that was provided here should be dynamic. Timestamps is an array, right? Yeah. Okay. And then token and transfer property. So how does it work? It calls create check, so it just checks something. Let's skip this. It takes the next stream ID into stream ID, and then for each segment, which is, segments are basically the properties for a time period, and it is calling segments array, not array, a mapping of segment, and then in respect to stream ID, and then it's It should be lookup dynamic. Lookup dynamic segment. Okay, and then it is pushing the property, which is the amount and the other stuff. Okay, and we are just saving it under the segments, right? Segment for the stream, and then we are just calling the create stream create function, which will calling create dynamic recipient. Okay, it should just mint, right? Okay, it should be under the here. Create, yeah, here it is. So it's just under the mapping stream ID. It is creating a stream property and just minting it. Okay, but the question is, like, here there are like multiple things going up on the, like, I can see multiple things happening here. First of all, there are multiple types of like structs that it is dealing with, namely segments and other. So one thing is created where, okay, so first of all, it saves segments under a stream ID here, right? So let me just create a diagram that'll make more sense, right? I'll just quit this. Yeah, it is Sablier. Yeah, so how does this works, right? Minting of no, creating oh my god, this is so weird. Dynamic lock. Yep. So first of all, how does it works? Let's understand it. Can I make it a little bigger? Yes. So where is it? Yep. So let's just copy this function and let's paste it here. So the first step is let me move it here. Yep. So the first step is it takes, where is it? Sorry, here. First is calculates start time using current log time, and then the second is it creates segments using the user passed segment with duration array. And it does is say create. Yeah, then when we call create, I'm having my meal alongside, apologies. Oh, yeah. My food's super spicy. Just create segment, dynamic lookup segment. Then calls calculates segment timestamps, which creates segments. Just to understand, is an array. Sorry, is an struct with timestamps, not duration. I'm kinda confused here of what's the actual differences. So it creates segments and returns segments with the timestamps. So where were we? So we are taking we are creating calculate segment times, and we are passing segments with durations. Segment with duration is basically the user provided input of the amount, the exponent, and it's an array, right? How much this particular segment needs to be, the duration and all, right? So then, I need to understand what is segment with duration and the difference between timestamp. I'm trying to understand the difference between segment with duration and the segment itself. So duration is what the user is passing. Okay. Okay, I'll take a quick short break. Or maybe later. Okay, so what we are doing here is, I understand now. So we are passing the start time, right? Start time is what the block stem, and the user passes the duration, how long it's going to last, right? So here we are calculating block stamp plus the duration, right? I'll take a note of that. Just give me a moment. Oh my god, this sucks. have. I don't understand why the fuck it's not. Right. Oh, maybe I understand now. We are combining of timestamp with duration to understand exact time when given duration. And then we are adding it and just pushing into an array of segments, and segments, just to let you know, is amount and exponent and timestamp. Then we are returning it, and we have segments with then we have segments with timestamp. So I'll just create segments with timestamps returned. Okay. Returned. Then we are creating a timestamp. We are creating a timestamp which looks like this, and let me add it somewhere here, just to not overdo a lot, and just mentioning it here. We are And then we are creating a struct with the start and time. We are passing that struct into create.ld. We are passing into create.ld, transfer and all. Okay, and let's review create.ld. The create.ld function is too big. Okay, the last stream ID will be the one written by create.ld function, and what it does is at first it just fetches the stream ID. Oh my god, this is not this. It loads the stream ID. And then creates, and then this, what it is, segments, right? Segments is an array of segments, and segment is basically here. I can like create okay, so segment is here, amount, exponent, timestamps. We are passing timestamps here, and then we are pushing segments under a mapping of the segments in relation to stream ID. Okay, let me just grab make more sense here.